101.5 WQOX. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, from the holidays and the new year. But I'm going to tell you something. Our superintendent kept working because we had a show during the break and everybody tuned in and said that they loved that they broke it down very well on the state report card because a lot of people had questions, and because the district was closed on the Wednesday while we were out, our superintendent and Bill White gave a lot of information, and the feedback was, we're so glad that they broke it down for us to understand. Now we're back to work, and Superintendent is back here with another edition of Tea with Superintendent Toni Williams. So, Soup, take it away.
Listen, we have the tea, the water. Unfortunately, today is not very much in it. So we're short a cup on Tea with Toni today. We have some extraordinary guests. I want to kick it off, John, and talk about a consistent community conversation. And it's really dealing with our students, our children, our juveniles, and crime. Yes. That is the conversation of this community right now. You saw all of the factoids that came out around the murder rates, the crime, the carjackings, and I get so many calls about the connection between juvenile crime, Memphis, Shelby County schools, and the city of Memphis. And today I'm just excited because I got some great people that have great discussions.
Yes.
And so why don't we, listen, instead of me doing the talking, why don't you introduce yourself, sir?
All right, so, I'm happy to be here with the superintendent. My name is Anthony Buckner. I am the chief deputy of the Shelby County Sheriff's Office, and I tell people to make it make sense, the sheriff is Batman and I'm Robin. So I'm the number 2 at the Sheriff's Office, responsible for both law enforcement and corrections, which I know you spoke about juveniles. So part of my responsibility is help manage the Youth Detention Center.
All right, does that mean Robin gets most of the responsibility?
That's why Robin doesn't have any hair, because of all those responsibilities.
Yes, I got the right person here today. And so, ma'am, who are you? Because you've been around this district for a very long time. And one thing about Memphians, we respect other Memphians. Not only have you been around Memphis, Shelby County schools, but you've been, city police?
Yes.
Who are you, ma'am?
Hey, good evening, everyone. I am Carolyn Jackson. I am the Chief of Safety and Security for Memphis Shelby County Schools. Now, what does that mean? I'm responsible for safety and security out of all of the 160 schools that we have here in Shelby County, and responsible for the safety of your children that go to school every day. I'm a former Memphis Police Commander, 30 years, and I've been with Memphis Shelby County Schools now 15 years.
Okay, 15 years. And let me say this is history, because I got an African-American woman that is the chief of the schools, very first. So we talk a lot about history in this city. We got some history in the school system. Let me transition. This is one of my favorite chiefs, right? It's just like I go to Brown Baptist and Pastor Orr always says we're his favorite church member. So that means everybody. But this is Mr. Shawn Page. Now, Shawn retires on me every other day. So he tells us that he has this long-standing history. Tell us who you are, sir, and just walk us through just the years of service and all the roles and responsibilities that you've had in this district.
So my name is Shawn Page. I'm the Chief of Academic Operations. This is going on my 30th year, or close to my 30th year.
He looks like it's year 2.
Well, I'll take that. So thank you. But what I've helped our school system with is our awards. And we know right now, coming out of COVID, everybody trying to get adjusted to that. Our students need a lot of support. So I oversee counseling, social workers, behavior specialists, attendance, truancy, discipline, and several other things. But these are things that really impact our students, and our goal is really to help our families. And just a little bit of my history. Again, I've been in the district for many years. I've been a teacher, a counselor. I've been a principal in elementary, middle, and high school setting, central office. So, but
See why she your favorite.
Man,
Look, he is a joy to work with, and he'll tell you every day about how long he's been in this district. So I definitely I want to start the conversation off. So John, this is new. Normally I'm the one that is part of the answer session and you're doing the questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Why don't we tag team? Because you're just such a natural at this. I'm learning from you. How about that?
Anytime we can share it, it's good, because it's a good way for you. This is your show. So
Okay.
sometimes, we had to grow a little bit. Now it's on you.
So I'm going to take an opportunity to do you how you do me. I'm going to ask you a question. So my question is, what's your perspective? Because you listen to the streets, you know the streets. So before we ask them questions, what is the atmosphere in Memphis, in your opinion, about the day-to-day of what you hear in these conversations around crime and just really juvenile? Give me your thoughts as a man.
Spot.
I mean, you do it to me all the time.
Former boss as well, but what I'm hearing is from the adults, they're tired. They're tired of the crime. They're tired of cars being broken. They're tired of seeing a lot of our juveniles hanging out late at night, after hours, and, tending to do things that they shouldn't be doing. From the students, I had interviewed a student from Middle College the other day, and he said, I asked him kind of the same question. He said, we feel like we're not being heard. And at home, if our parents not listening to us and they're not giving us any kind of recognition, but we get out here and do something negative and we get all the attention. So when we see that, other people are watching. And I'm just like, I never heard, from a perspective from a student like that. But I just think it's going to take everybody. I just think it can't just be dependent upon the school system to fix everything, or, our law enforcement. I really think it's going to take a collective effort to try to get this thing, because it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, I totally agree. One thing I am excited about is just really the leadership, the shift in the city. Right. And not, pointing fingers to past leaders, but more or less that it's a perfect opportunity and time for all of our organizations between the county, the city, the school system to really come together and partner. And so let me just take a moment to ask you guys, what do you feel like the root causes? And this is no particular order. Let's just make a conversation. The root causes of crime, just in general in the city right now. Is it poverty? What is it?
So I thought about this as John was talking, and it's a combination of things. It's not just one thing. I think we're talking poverty, we're talking education, and we're talking gangs. And I think those, for me, are the three root causes of our crime escalating in our city. Because we got a poverty rate. Everybody wants to be financially sound, but we're not. And the kids see the fast money, and the gangs are there, and they've got what the children are looking for that they're not getting at home. And education, because if they're out committing these crimes, they're not coming to school either. So if we can, education is the key to everything, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah.
Because if we can get our kids educated where they're academically sound and they feel good about, I've got a 3.5 or a 4.0, they can visually see themselves going somewhere as opposed to C's and D's in school. So that's my opinion.
And I'll add one more thing. As of 10 minutes ago, on my way over here, we had 121 youth that are detained right now in the Youth Detention Center. And I often ask this question of my leadership out there, which is, when we talk to these kids in our detention center, what are they saying, John, similar to the conversation you had with the young man from Middle College, but what are they saying as the reason to why these crimes are being committed? And one thing that they've shared with us is drugs. Many of them parents are experiencing some type of drug addiction. And so when they go home, there's an absent parent or there's a high parent that's sitting in the home. So they are taking it upon themselves to try to create financial wealth via crime. So I think we also have to just consider the drug or the impact of drugs in our community, and particularly in the home with our students and our kids.
And if I can add this, I think one thing that concerns me is some of the misinformation out there. And I want to be clear, the vast majority of our students come to school every day, do the best job they can.
Right.
They are good students. There are a few, let me make clear, a few that are causing problems, but it is a minority of our students. The vast majority of students do the best they can every day, and we support them. But I think what we're seeing is maybe 2 to 3% of the adult population and maybe less than 1% of students causing all of these crimes. It is not 50% of kids. It is not 25%. It is not even 5%.
But that's the narrative.
But the narrative is,
Yes.
but let me be clear, the data shows that for the adults, it is literally 2 or 3% doing the same crimes over and over again.
Absolutely.
Not where it's 20% of the adults, and it's most certainly not more than 1% of the kids. So what we're seeing again is there's a revolving door sometimes with the same individuals creating crime. And we do need to solve this because it's impacting. But I just want to touch on something you said, is that what we've got to do is lift up families, whether it is a single parent household or a mother-father raising a child or whatever combination. We have to support our family.
Right.
Because until we support our family unit, we're not solving any of this. Right. And the way we do that is through working with our schools, working with faith-based organizations, working with community organizations. But we got to invest in our families, because if we don't start at the family and make sure that family is strong and healthy, we're not solving anything.
I love it. I love it. So you mentioned something, Shawn, about lifting up our families and the supports. And most of the time, you have leaders who call to say, what is the school system doing about this? What are you guys doing? And so I do remember some large investments that were made. And so I'm not going to get into the numbers, but and then I'll switch to you because, on the safety and security side, Carolyn, or Chief Jackson, rather, you made some investments as well.
Right.
And so let's talk about some of those investments that have been made, historical investments, but what do you see the impact of some of those investments? How do you see some of them bearing out? So educate the people, Shawn.
So as the superintendent shared, we have invested, over $100 million, and that's on both ESSER investments along with just what we put into supporting our students. And we can do more, let me be clear, but we have invested, tens of millions of dollars in counselors, social workers, behavior specialists, because the one thing that a child needs, and I think you said this, is someone to talk to, and that is a teacher.
Yes.
It's an adult somewhere in the house, in the community, in the school. And one thing I said, and just recently I was at a parent meeting, I said this: if you want to help and you're listening on this phone call right now, volunteer, become a mentor. If you want to do something to solve this problem and you want to come in, go through a background check, but here's the thing, be a mentor, because Big Brother, Big Sisters work, our mentoring programs, but you can make a difference in the life of a child. But it starts in the home with the parent, it starts in the school with the teacher, and it starts in our community with people helping them.
I want to chime in because you said something that I want people to, and Chief Jackson, to clarify. People cannot just walk in and just say, I want to help, and just get to work. Can we just explain that? Because I know people are like, I want to help, but may not know how.
Right.
Can I just say this? I apologize. So, and I'm just thinking, but I just about a few months ago, I had somebody come put in a microwave in my house, and the person goes, I know you. And this was 28 years ago. He goes, you were my principal. He said, you talked to me. He goes, I was one of your troubled kids. And he goes, but one thing I remember about you, Mr. Page, is you actually sat and talked to me and checked on me. And he said that left impression, obviously, on him 28 years later.
Right.
And I'm thinking of another young man that I just saw. This was about a few years ago. He's actually a police officer, but this was a troubled young man. And what we had at the school where I was a principal, we had a mentor come in that worked with this young man. It was a volunteer, but we also worked with our counselor. And as you can see, we can change the lives of children. But what's going to change it is it's people. It's that one-to-one. It is talking to a person, and it's motivating that child.
Chief, I get excited when you talk about mentors, because I'm sitting here today because of a mentor. I'm 44 years young, but my mentor came in my life at the age of 8. And to this day, I still communicate daily with my mentor, and now my mentor my children. So that's incredibly important. If the parent is not available, there's a mentor out there that can connect with a child. And John, before I kick it over to Chief, I'm sorry for interrupting, but I got to say this, because I get that same question quite often when it comes to volunteering. How can I, where can I, and things of this nature. And I tell folks all the time, you don't have to make it complicated when it comes to engaging a child. I think sometimes we make it overly complicated, but sometimes you can start with your next door neighbor, or you can start with the kids that's walking past your neighborhood, or the kids walking past your home. But if you don't feel comfortable there, because I hear that often, You can start with the young people in your own family, nieces, nephews, grandkids. I promise you, there is a child available to be mentored somewhere near you.
So when we talk about mentors, there's different levels of mentors. And I agree with Chief Buckner and Chief Page. Go out and pursue that. If it's a school within your community or within your walking distance, go up to that school. Let the principals know, I want to be a volunteer or a mentor. Okay? The Memphis Shelby County Schools, we have a process for volunteers. So you fill out the paperwork, give it to the principal submits it to our volunteer department, and then you go through a series of checks based on what level you want to participate in. So there's different levels, John. So we have levels of volunteers or mentors that work side by side with teachers and principals and school administrators. Those volunteers do not have to go through fingerprinting and background check. They go through a preliminary check through the school that's done in a matter of minutes, and they are approved, okay? The higher level of volunteers are those that want to be around our kids unchaperoned. And the state dictates at that point the guidelines that we must go through to work one-on-one with a child in our school or on a field trip. Now you've got to go through fingerprinting and background checks through the state of Tennessee and be cleared and approved to do that. But there's a variety of levels and work that's out there, and I would encourage anyone that would like to volunteer. If you've got a school in your neighborhood, in your community, go to that school and say, hey, I really want to help. What can I do?
I'm glad you said that, because now that kills all the, well, they won't let me in the school. And no, we got a process, and we should have a process. Thank y'all for answering that, and thanks for bringing that up, Chief.
Can I add this too? And I think one thing is, if you can't volunteer and you have a child and you're listening, there's an old adage that goes like this. We've all heard it. Idle hands are the devil's workshop.
Right.
When children are constructively engaged in something during school, after school, that is a game changer too. So one of the things we have, Superintendent, you're aware of, we have Boys and Girls Club, a wonderful partnership in many of our high schools, and they do phenomenal work. So if you're listening to this and you have a high school age child, see if your school has that, and about half our high schools do. We have before and after school programs. We have tutoring. We have a lot of supports for kids. But what you see when you talk to somebody that's in jail or you see someone on the wrong path, it's hopelessness. There's hopelessness when you talk to them. And what we've got to do is be messengers of hope. And that's getting a child involved in academics, athletics, music, art, bands, something. And that's what turns people around.
So, Carolyn, I think we may have missed a couple programs from your side, though. So we talked about Shawn's programs and that he's responsible for, but talk a little bit about some of the programs that you support with as well.
Absolutely. From safety and security, we have the Grancy program, and that's a program to help our students stay away from gangs, or if they're in gangs and they want to know the way to get out of there. We have 15 safety special project coordinators that are gang certified in working with those students. They work with the West Tennessee District Gang Unit, and they work with them and teach them a safe way to get out of gangs, because once you get in, there's a risk you take when you come out, but there's a right way to come out of that gang, and that's just one of our programs. We also have our SHAPE program, which is our Schoolhouse Adjustment Program Enterprise. What that program does is give our students who are first-time offenders in misdemeanor crimes an opportunity to go through this program and not have a criminal record, because we know if you have a criminal record, how that affects you when you become an adult. So we're working hard to make sure that our students are not just statistics and numbers, and when they grow up and want to be a part of a Fortune 500 company, this come back on them and say, you did this at a school. So these misdemeanor offenses, we've got a curriculum. So it's not just a program you get in and you go in and you talk every day. It's a curriculum. It's 2 hours a day. Our teachers and our school staff are paid a stipend to teach this curriculum to these students that are in shape. And it teaches them life coping skills, anger management skills, problem resolution skills, just in general, so that they can come out of it and know different ways and how to handle different things in the world. I think a lot of our kids don't communicate. Well, I know they don't from our focus groups, because you mentioned before, hey, do we talk to our kids? Well, we started this last year because I kept hearing, well, we didn't do this when we were that age. Well, hey, these kids are different. So we've got to learn how to communicate differently with them if we want different outcomes, right? So we started the focus group, and where we go is data-driven because we're trying to reduce incidents in our schools. And I'm proud to say right now, we have a 13% decrease in incidents in school compared to last year. So we're talking, Chief Page team, they're talking, and Dr. Walker, his team, we all work together. We go out with the counselors at the school, the principals, and all of that, and we sit down with a group of kids. Now, who do we want to talk to? Just the smart kid? Oh, no. We're going to talk to everybody. We're going to first talk to staff, see how they feel about the school, see what they see. Then we're going to get those AB students, those smart students, see how they look at it. Then we're going to get the kids that are not AB, that may have some issues, and see how they look at it as well. And we take all that information and compile it, and we look at our manpower, and we get with the other divisions within Memphis Shelby County Schools and say, we need this, we need that, we need this. And one of the things that the children said was, we need somebody to talk to. We need more people, we need more teachers. They also said they wanted more SROs, that when they go to school and they see that officer or deputy in that school, it gives them a sigh of relief that they can now relax and try to learn what they need to learn in moving forward, okay? We also have school-based probation liaison, okay? Because I know what Shawn talked about is like proactive prevention things. And what we have is more reactive because we want to catch them and make sure they stay on the right track, okay? So we've got the SHAPE. We talked about Grassy. We got school-based probation liaison. That's a program that our staff in our school mentors and follow our kids that are on probation. We work with probation and parole to make sure they are making their calls with their probation officer. Their grades are where they need to. And they have a dedicated person within our school system to actually talk to when they have these challenges that they don't know how to deal with. And that program has been going along great. We have youth court that we work with juvenile court that are actually students that hold court with others that against their peers. So they act as judges, attorneys, and we have actual judges and attorneys from the Bar Association that work with our students that help, and they're judging their own peers.
And this is Memphis Shelby County School. We gotta tell that story. We gotta keep telling these stories.
Okay.
We do.
Yes.
Well, let me ask you this, Carolyn. What if there's a parent out there that is concerned about their child, interacting with a game? So what advice would we give that parent? Where can they contact about these particular programs? Just, that mother that's out there that's kind of having a hopeless moment. What do we say to her? What information can we give to her about that particular child?
Well, that mother will have several ways of contacting us. because I'm former law enforcement. I do understand the confidentiality of things and how sometimes parents can do things and it gets the student, I guess, blackballed or ostracized, or it makes it worse, right? So we have what we call tips off, and it's an anonymous tip line that our parents, if you don't want your child to know that you're giving us information, and it's on our website, on the Shelby County Schools website, under safety and security, you can go on there and you can text us. Hey, my child attends this school, and but I don't want my child to know that I'm giving you this information, but they're struggling with coming out of a game. Can you please help? Now, that information goes to all of the supervisors that I have in safety and security. And it goes no matter what time, day or night, they text us. And then we get right on top of it. Or you can just call us. You can call us at 416-5773, which is our district safety and security number, ask to speak to a supervisor, and a supervisor will assist you with your issues that you have. And we get calls like that. We get tips from parents as well. So any way you want to reach out, we do have an email address as well. Okay. All right.
Let me ask you this, Shawn, and I didn't forget about you.
All right.
He ready.
Shawn, when we talk about talking to our students, right, we have a social emotional curriculum. And a lot of people don't know that this is actually going on during the day in school. Tell us a little bit about the interaction with our students in this particular curriculum.
So in our district, we have what's called social emotional learning, and it is where every week, all of our students, that's everybody in kindergarten through 12th grade, there is a topic that we have set up. And some of the topics could be how to get along with others, how to deal with problems, how to deal with stress, conflict resolution, and all of these types of topics. And what we have found is, sometimes our students don't hear how to resolve problems. We sometimes think kids know what to do. That's not always the case. Sometimes kids really don't just know how to talk to someone. They don't know how to de-escalate a situation or calm down when they're having stress. So we actually have a weekly module where we, all teachers show a module, they talk to the students, and they interact on it. And what I think it's doing is it's creating a conversation around how to handle things. And I think that's so important because we can never just assume students know. I mean, sometimes adults don't know. And so the more we can train, the more we can support, I think that's a big deal. And I want to add on something that Chief Jackson said. If you as a parent are listening and, you see some issues with your child, please reach out. And the person to reach out to at first, because what we don't want is get it all the way over to Carolyn Jackson's level. Right. You want to start where if you start seeing things that don't seem right, your child doesn't want to go to school, they're having problems with their peers and their other students, reach out to your counselor, contact your school's counselor, and start talking, because we can, before it gets too far gone, we can start working with the counselor, the social worker, the behavior specialist. And many times we're able to resolve problems, because what we don't want is to get to the other side of this, where someone has made really bad decisions and mistakes over and over again. But I do believe this. Most people respond to help. Most people will listen if we can get them the help. And so
that's to Chief Jackson point about if we can get up before and go down that path.
Right.
Like we can do a great job of stopping.
So let me share Buckner down there.
All right.
Definitely the next question, and I'll circle back to a couple. The perspective of the sheriff's office. So people don't know that you are in our schools.
Yes.
You are a partner in the work.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about what you think is being done and what needs to be done in our community for us to see a decrease in youth violence. I know we talked a little bit about mentorships, like just the interaction with your officers in the schools. I mean, just elaborate on anything you want to
Yeah, sure. So I'm a former SRO, school resource officer from Southwind High School, the very first year that it opened, and yes, I still have my yearbook where I'm in it, so I'm super proud of that. But in terms of the sheriff's office and what's being done, I think our SRO program is such an important program for our community. Right now, we have 48 deputies that are assigned to 27 schools throughout Memphis and Shelby County. And I always say this, of course, you see the deputy and he or she, they're wearing a khaki shirt and green pants, and they're a certified deputy. But I promise you, there are all things to all people on those campuses. When I served as an SRO, I was a big brother. I was an uncle. I was a preacher. I was a counselor. I was some of everything to those students, and as well as the teachers. So when you look at those SROs, I can assure you that they are doing far more good for the students. Law enforcement, obviously, that's their primary purpose of being there, to protect the students and staff. But I promise you, the conversations that are happening in those hallways are life-changing for many of those students. And 2007 was when I was an SRO. I can tell you today, I still run into kids as the chiefs talked about. Then those kids to this day still call me Officer Buckner. I don't care what rank I get. I could be the sheriff one day and they're still going to call me Officer Buckner because that's what they remember me as, and I'm always going to be in their minds. So we support that program. We teach our SROs to be mentors on the campus. We understand that is important for those kids. It's one of our best recruiting tools as well. But then outside of the schools, we run an Explorer program, which I was a part of it as well, back in 1996, where we invite kids during the summer months to join our program. And it's about a 2-month academy where they come out several days a week and they spend time with us, and we get them in shape physically, but then we also teach them a lot about leadership and how to become leaders within their community. And we don't care if they want to be a deputy or not. It's not about that. It's literally about being a leader within your community, within your schools or whatever place that you frequent most of the time. But then also within our youth detention center, we run a number of programs trying to return kids back to their families better than how we found them. So we spend time going through alcohol and drug treatment programs, and we spend time talking about conflict resolution and anger management. So we run a number of programs. We even have a book club at the Youth Detention Center where we assign them a book to read, and then we come out and we discuss that book. And these kids are super intelligent. They are super intelligent. I mean, I'm impressed, when I get a chance to be around these kids and what they know. And I can assure you, for anyone, a volunteer or superintendent yourself, if you come inside of our youth detention center, you will not see anything in those kids that's different than any kid you see in the hallways of any school system. These kids they don't look like the charges in which they've been brought in for. They are just everyday kids. They look like my son, my daughter, and you can't help but want to pour into them when you're in that facility. But I also want to wave the flag. We have a fishing rodeo that we do each and every year. Voluntown Elementary is our adopted school. And so we each year we take a number of kids. I think we load up a couple of buses, take them out. We have a pond out at our training academy, and we teach the kids how to fish. Now, we have to be with them because if they're not careful, they'll hook themselves, and we want them to hook the fish. But we spend time with them about a half a day just teaching kids how to put a worm on a hook and a hook in the water and catch the fish. And those kids come out, they're so excited, and it does us well to look at these kids and just see the joy within them and see them hold up the first fish that they've ever caught. So that's incredibly important to us. But in terms of what needs to change, I cannot talk about it enough. Mentorship is what's going to make a difference, I believe, in our community. And there are so many opportunities to mentor, whether it's through the school system. We have volunteers with us as well who come inside of our youth detention center, and they do a number of work, a number of jobs for us that we really couldn't be able to do without them. So mentorship is the one thing that I think could change our community. If more people would just get involved and get engaged with our kids. I understand that sometimes it can be an intimidating process, but I promise you, if you start where you feel the most comfortable, you'll make a difference.
Right, so that means that the fishing is at what time of the year? Let's need some mentorship on fish.
Well, I'll tell you, I do my fishing at Kroger, so I'm out there too.
So, Carolyn, definitely not only are we having a juvenile crime discussion, a city crime discussion, we're really having a statewide discussion over the last 6 to 7 months on some of the incidents that are occurring inside of the schools, right? I think that we had definitely right here, close to home, just somebody coming on the campus of schools and, threatening and there being just a general conversation in this state around school safety. And we're really excited about the state pouring into more investments into school systems and safety right now. So tell us a little bit about how you, as the chief of one of the largest school systems, the largest in the state, but one of the largest in the nation, keep our school buildings safe.
Well, thank you for that. And I just wanted to start out by saying Memphis Shelby County Schools, they've made a multi-million-dollar investment in our school safety.
Can you repeat that again?
Except for the people in the back.
Hey, people in the back, right? I'm doing my John Mason right now.
So Memphis Shelby County Schools have made a multi-million-dollar investment in school safety. Now, what
superintendent did that?
That's under Superintendent Toni Williams.
Okay, I just a moment.
Yes. So for all of our listening parents to know, we first started out as saying, and let me just take you through it. Before anyone walks into our buildings in the morning, we screen them all. All staff, students, and visitors. With this multi-million-dollar investment, we have dedicated staff within safety and security that performs those duties now. John, you've been with us for a while. It used to be teachers.
That's right.
And the teachers had to screen the kids, run them through the scanner, and then go teach their class. Well, now we've worked it out with this multi-million-dollar investment, and they don't have to do that. They can actually go to their classrooms in the morning and get prepared to teach our kids. So we have the latest and the greatest technology with our screening equipment. We have what's called a weapons detection system. Kids can come in.
Detection
system. It's what you see when you go to your football stadiums, your large stadium. You just walk through it. Don't have to take off cell phones, backpack. No.
Like at the airport.
Right, airport.
Yes, none of that. But it only detects weapons. Okay, so we're able to process, and we did a pilot program at 2 of our largest schools before we purchased this equipment, Cordova and Southwind. And we're able to process Cordova has over 2,000 students, and we can process them in 30 minutes and get them to class on time. Yes. And this technology has AI intelligence to it, and that's the going thing. So we wanted to not have a limit on doing what we needed to do to keep our kids safe. So not only does the weapons detection system have AI, we purchased new X-ray machines, because now if you are alerted going through, you go to another station, which we call a resolution station, and everything you have goes through an X-ray machine. That X-ray machine has AI technology in it as well. We didn't stop there with this multi-million-dollar investment.
Talk, Chief.
Yeah, we went on and purchased new cameras.
What?
With AI technology. So you know how you used to sit at a monitor and have to watch a monitor? Yeah. With AI technology, you don't have to do that. You set your parameters. So we say, okay, when class is in session, to alert us if someone is in this area for more than 3 minutes. That system, that camera will pop up an alert on our monitor, and let our monitors know that, hey, this kid's been in this hallway, the stairwell. The monitors gets on the radio, notify the officers, you got to go to this stairwell. We got some students there that shouldn't be there. And it's time sensitive, and it gives us all of that. But the cameras are internal as well as external. So on the top of our buildings now, we've got exterior cameras that we've installed in 17 schools. It will be installing in 51 more schools by the end of next year. And that technology on those cameras, they're PTZs, but if anyone is walking on our cameras, it can detect weapons and alert us that, hey, this person coming across your camera has a gun on them.
From the top of the building.
From the top of the building camera.
Just saying that.
I'm sitting here blown away.
That's an investment.
Yes. And not to stop there. I won't even tell that. We're going to keep that secret until we get it going.
Some of this is top security.
Yes.
I don't know how I did today because I've had some wonderful conversations with some guests here. I think that we touched a lot about the social emotional, the supports that we offer proactively. I think that we talked a little bit about the safety and security that when our students actually need some intervention and help. Then what do you say, Joe?
I mean, I think you did an excellent job. I think from now on, you can just sit in this chair.
I'm telling you, this is going to be my next role in the district.
But I think the biggest thing from today was we informed the community.
Yes.
So you didn't hear it on a social media post.
Right.
Nobody told you what they think they heard. You heard from our leaders that's given in the C, where she said multi-million.
She really said 50 million.
Okay.
She kind of undershot.
Okay. But it's going to something. You know, we're saying, like you said, $100 million. We hear that in the street. That's a lot of money to us.
Yes.
The programs and cameras and all these AI technology equipment, that costs money. You see? So, but I think the information that went out today is going to be very important for our family and community to hear. Good job.
And I want to send a shout out to our sheriff department because we work in partnership with them in our schools every day, as well as our local Memphis Police Department. We all have a partnership. So if something happens after school hours that they feel like would bleed over into our schools, they calling us.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what time or day or night.
Yes.
We have that collaboration so that we can get on top of it and be proactive and stop anything from going on in our schools the next day.
What I want to reiterate is this: please, if you have a child in our system and you know they need help, reach out. We have adults in our buildings there to help. The main person to reach out to is the counselor, but please don't let something keep on going on and on. Reach out and get help for your child.
Yes, Chief, you took my closing line. I was going to really, yes, I promise you. But one thing that I do want the listeners to know is that your school system, your sheriff's office is working hard for you each and every single day. As the chief talked about, our day doesn't stop at 4 o'clock. If something is happening that impacts a student at 9, 10 o'clock at night, we're on the phones, we're talking, we're strategizing. And even if it's something that we're dealing with from the sheriff's office side, maybe a child has been around a traumatic event, we're on the phone with Chief Jackson and her staff sharing this information so the next day the counselors and the teachers would know about that and they can address that, child, with whatever kind of specialty that they need to. So your school system, your sheriff's office, your law enforcement agencies, we are working hard for the citizens and the students of the districts.
I think that's the drop the mic moment.
That is, he dropped it.
Right.
That's the
Collaboration.
See with Tony today.
There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get back to regular scheduled programming. We are your Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame station, and we're celebrating 50 years of broadcasting this year. So let's enjoy the voice of MSGS.